Hey there, kids. It's me, Oni the Unicorn. And I'm here to tell you that f***ing your dreams ain't cheap. In fact, it costs a ton of cash to do. So that's why me and the OhNo Radio Show need your help. Just go to the website displayed below and hit us up with some cash, yo. $1, $5, $1 million if you have it to spare. Any amount is appreciated. Well, I gotta go because these dreams ain't gonna fuck themselves. See ya!
Welcome back once again to another edition of the OhNo Wrestling Podcast. This is episode 121. 121. Hey everybody, my name is Owen and I am your sharp break kid. Along with me tonight is our predictions champion, Duncan the King of Bong Style. And unfortunately, no Matthew tonight. We believe he's on an airplane right now, flying home at least. So,
and we hope he's flying.
Well, yeah, we'll just hope for that one, and yeah, we'll move on. We'll move on without him for the evening. There's a lot that happened this week. But we have
a few things.
But we absolutely do have to start with what I am calling probably the greatest episode of cable television of all time, and that was last night's Monday Night Raw. It was possibly some of the finest viewing that you could...
I think it might have been the greatest Monday Night Raw since Legends Night.
Probably since Legends Night. I mean, we've got some new legends that were even made, on this particular night. But, yeah, all kidding aside, Raw was garbage. We'll talk a little bit about that later. What we probably should talk about right at the onset of the show is what I believe is probably the talk of the wrestling town, and that is this past week's Friday Night Dynamite.
Yeah.
And overall, I'll go ahead and say it's one of probably the weakest Dynamites since they've been on TV. And I get it, you're not going to want to... The numbers for the previous week were really low, with it being a Friday show. I understand that's, I think they expect that, I don't think there's any need for panic here. I think they expected that they weren't going to be doing great numbers at 10 o'clock on a Friday night, following SmackDown and everything that comes with that. Obviously, part of the necessity of what they have to do with TNT having the NBA Finals and the playoffs on and all that right now. But it also makes it so much more important and points out the importance of this big move eventually to TBS, where they will have this designated time slot and not have to deal with shifting around times and shifting around stations and all this type of stuff. I kind of wish that right now they would have just done it as a test. And obviously I'm not a TV executive that deals, I don't know the deals, but...
You're not?
I wish I was. I'd be I probably wouldn't be doing this show right now if I was. No, I would.
It might be a conflict of interest.
Yeah, but I would if I could.
Mm-hmm.
But it would have been kind of cool if they would have just been like, all right, Wednesday, 8 o'clock, TBS instead of TNT, right? I think that would have been, you would have kept, I think, a bigger share of the audience than jumping to Fridays out of, obvious necessity.
Right.
When both shows are over there, that's going to be fun because you will kind of have like your USA and it's going to sink into people's minds. Oh, wrestling on these days at these times with, on this same station. It's like you memorize the number. It's all those little things, right?
Oh
It's
yeah, like back in the day when
routine.
it's just like yeah, USA is 248, and then
Right.
like on your saddle or whatever it is, right? And then like I think USA was 248 on mine, and then
Yeah.
it was like 267 for TNT,
Sure.
and then you're flipping back and forth, and then you just hit previous
Your little
channel.
last button or whatever.
Yeah,
it is.
and you're just going back and forth between watching, Raw and Nitro, and then Thunder and SmackDown. So
And it was sort of like that when NXT was on Wednesdays. Now, of course, NXT being on Tuesdays, that's sort of shifted, and I think it's helped. That part has helped a lot to kind of get people's eyes on one product and not like, ooh, I want to watch this match. Maybe I'll miss this, and you're hopping back and forth, and it it's never a flawless or a seamless viewing experience if you're just watching on or not or watching two different shows at once. No matter like if you're watching a hockey game like in the playoffs, right, and you've got two games on at once, you can't focus really 100% of your
it's like
attention
if
on
you're at a
one.
sports bar that's got 17 games on all around you, you're just like
they scored.
something happened.
That,
Somebody scored. Fuck. Okay.
Right. And so I think that'll be good. I'm rambling about the whole TBS thing because I wanted to ask you. I'm still sort of unsure of how it will, when it's all like said and done, how it will all pan out. Are they still doing Rampage on the Friday, or will Rampage? Because I heard something about like initially they might have it go like have one on one network, and then as a third hour you tune to another network, or from my initial understanding it was always just going to be the 2-hour show of Dynamite with Rampage starting, I believe, on TBS sooner as a third hour singular show on at 10 o'clock. But then there was some conflicting reports that I read that seem to have it that they might sort of do it as maybe like Wednesdays on TBS, I would assume, immediately following TNT's broadcast of Dynamite and going into Rampage. That might be like a short-term thing that they're like maybe just toying with or something, but I can see them after such low numbers in this 10 o'clock Friday night, like, time slot. I can see them maybe rethinking that strategy slightly. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, I would. Well, my thoughts on it is Friday at 10 o'clock is a notoriously difficult time slot.
100%.
Anyway, like, what do you really think is going to happen? Like, you're not going to pull in great numbers. You're going to pull in, a million marks like us who have nothing better to do on a Friday fucking night.
And now with COVID restrictions loosening everywhere, people being stuck at home, they're finally going back out. Then you put that up against playoff hockey, NHL. Then you've got NBA going on. So hell of a lot to compete with for them, I would assume.
And just the summer.
And just the summer, like longer nights, people are out later. They're not in
exactly.
At
people
5
are finally
in the afternoon.
Vaccinated. People are able to go out. People are able to do more. Like they're trying to get back in touch with what the life that we led in the before times was. So, like, I get it. It's just like the same when SmackDown announced that it was moving to Fridays. I'm like, okay, that's fine because it's Fox, but you're still not like that's not the numbers you're looking for.
No,
that's not people at home.
And I think we've got this with Dynamite for the next like 3 weeks or at least another 2. I want to
say Friday night Dynamite.
Yeah, and I believe they're all pre-taped. That's why, and I believe this past Friday's was pre-taped, and and I think they had to suffer through a shit ton of darks to kind of get through there. So that's why I think the fans, if you watch any of last week's Dynamite, were really deflated.
Yeah, they were over it.
They were worn the fuck out.
Well, I mean, if you look at like the amount of taping time that's like you're dealing with a WrestleMania type.
You're looking at a long night. Now it probably wasn't that bad because I know they do some stuff on these different nights. They spread it out a little bit, but I was, I guess, surprised at the major reveal and the introduction and debut of one.
The complete surprise.
The complete surprise being done on a taped show. It's either it was a taped show or they taped a bunch of shit before it, and then the rest of the shows were taped.
I think they taped a bunch of shit before it because there is no fucking way.
Yeah, that they could have kept that a secret. You're absolutely right.
Fucking way.
I was thinking, that occurred to me as I was kind of saying it, and was like, nah.
I mean, like, you had me. I believed you. So
but
even if like
point before it stands in, I think because it was a 10 o'clock show, they probably did start the show at 7 or 8 and made those fans watch 3 hours of wrestling before you got to 10 o'clock the main show. And that's, I mean, 5 hours is a long ask. It's a long ask.
Dude, like, okay, I'm all about getting value for your money.
And a 5 hour great pay-per-view, no one's complaining about.
No,
but 5 hours, 3 of which are dark elevation.
Dark elevation.
Followed by a really lackluster dynamite.
Yeah. I mean, dude, it's hard to... This is the thing you're always going to run into in wrestling, is it is hard to consistently follow up banger pay-per-views with banger TV without giving away the store.
Yeah.
So every now and again, and like, we just got to accept that some of the shows aren't going to be full heaters, right?
And that's fine. That's fair.
Yeah, they don't need to be raw.
No, but you could do a little better than that.
Yeah. I will say the only thing that I don't necessarily enjoy about the Andrade thing is Vicky.
Yeah. It
can work, but like, dude, she's had like how many times has she struck out with whoever she's been like managing? Nyla, and she had somebody else, and
I wouldn't say she struck out. Nyla was the best fit that she's probably had.
Sure.
And I think there's ways they can save that a little bit if they want to, but I don't know that she is the right mouthpiece for Andrade. And I don't know that he even really needs one. Like, I know his English isn't 100% there, but I don't know that he needs a full-on mouthpiece. There's plenty of superstars on the AEW roster right now that don't speak less English than him, whether it be, some of the Japanese superstars or wrestlers,
Michael Nakazawa,
or I mean, Penta and Phoenix.
Yeah, no, 100%. And okay, Andrade, Penta, and Phoenix all being in the same company is,
well, I mean,
like,
that alone is awesome. That alone is awesome.
Don't get me wrong, I love Pac, but at some point, right, like, the Mexican connection is going to come through.
And I've always said, well, actually, this is going to bring something up later that I will bring up later, because we need to talk more, of course, about Andrade and that debut.
Oh, we definitely can and should talk about Andrade, because, like...
But it brings up in kayfabe, too, like, I've always had a issue of, they're all really good and they fit stylistically in the ring, but what is the kayfabe reason for me to believe that Death Triangle is together? Like, obviously, Pac and Phoenix,
or Penta and Phoenix.
Sorry.
Right.
Yeah. At least
but
why Pac?
I don't get it. I don't get it. And I don't know the kayfabe reason either, because doesn't make any fucking sense to me.
No, this dude from goddamn
A Geordie.
A Geordie, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Newcastle, UK,
Yeah.
would be just all of a sudden great buddies with
Like just best friends with Mexicans?
Yeah, these two Mexicans that they're tough as nails, and maybe they share a bit of a bad a bad vibe, or they're
Right?
we're all angry, and we can do cool shit. So we should be a team. I don't know.
We're all aerial? I don't know, because by that logic, fucking Private Party would be with them, and
It doesn't make a ton of sense.
then again, we are looking for logic in professional wrestling, which is not necessarily the greatest.
It isn't, but AEW has done a far better job of having some logic. Like, of course, you gotta suspend disbelief.
Yeah,
with
because it's wrestling,
storylines,
but at
because-
least AEW doesn't have somebody fighting a doll.
And they usually kind of wrap things up too,
Yeah.
like in storylines.
Or
they don't
if it's not working, they just kind of be like, you know what, let's
leave
try
that off
this.
TV. We're not gonna force it down your throat. We're gonna take a breather and move on. It was. I didn't mind Andrade debuting and the kind of the red herring thing with Mark Henry.
Yeah.
I felt like if they wanted to do it, they could have, and still had Vicky a part of this. They could have had Vicky out there being the one interviewing Mark Henry, and then cutting him off to bring out Andrade. If they were dead set on the Vicky thing, I don't think it worked with like the 3 steps of we've got the pop from Mark Henry coming out, then
we've got Vicky.
Then Vicky, that's like the crowd was not having Vicky shtick this night.
Nope.
They were not.
They were like, if you do not shut this shrill bitch up, it was peak Jacksonville energy.
It wasn't. It was X-Pac heat. It wasn't good heat.
Yeah, it was not good heat.
It was not good heat.
Get the fuck out of here heat.
And thankfully, that completely changed, of course, when Andrade. What are they calling him? I can't even. I don't
Andrade El Idolo.
El Idolo. All right, fine.
A lot of people. Some people are mispronouncing it as Idolo.
Well, they will,
Idolo
because we're gringos and we read things, phonetically
well, sure,
in our language.
But yeah,
I know
Spanish for the idol. Not all of Spanish is hard, man.
No. Usually when I hear a term like that, I'm like, yep, okay, yep.
Right.
Now, whether or not it sticks is a different question.
Well, that's a totally different thing.
I believe JR definitely was not familiar with what the dude's name was and kept pronouncing it wrong, or kept
shocking.
Shocking. And then getting pissed when Excalibur corrects him, as he's apt to do now.
Well, they have given Excalibur that credo of, if JR fucks up, you have to correct him.
And it's important. Like,
yes,
messing up a move here or there, I can deal with.
Don't let him have the little JR things. He's never been the best at, like, the moves. Like, that's not his thing.
That's not the problem. But when, like, there are things, like,
calling Kenny Omega the WWE champion.
Right. There are things that you just can't, you can't defend. And,
right.
And I know people like Pac from that region, those Geordies, are proud of where they're from. You do not want to say he's from Wales, for instance. That happened,
No, but like your family's from Wales. You wouldn't want somebody who's not from Wales being like, you wouldn't want to be called a Geordie.
Absolutely not. It's just
right.
It's like someone from.
That'd be like somebody calling me from Ohio. Fuck off.
Right. Or from Alabama for that.
I'd rather be from Alabama than Ohio. I won't even lie.
Well, there you go.
All offense intended to anybody from Ohio who's listening.
Never been. Don't really plan on it.
I've been enough for the both of us. You don't need to go.
Yeah. But so there was some confusion about his name. The whole debut felt a little clunky.
It just felt like such a random time to do it.
Yeah. It was an odd place in the show.
Was there not a pay-per-view right before that?
Maybe that could be contract stuff, but then at the same
time,
time,
but he didn't have the no compete clause.
The only thing I can think of is that this maybe will get people to tune in or stick around for the rest of this 2-hour show that we know is going to suffer with numbers. So we're putting it here to maybe get a ratings boost. But
Yeah, maybe.
I think you hurt Andrade a little bit in that, because now he's going to be blamed for not getting a ratings boost when that was a hard ask to begin with.
I mean, or he'll be seen as the only bright spot in the entire show. Yeah, which I think is more likely.
I think you're probably right, because the rest of the show, there was a lot of bad on the show. Like it was just not a good. They're waiting. They're got to be waiting till they get fans back and they get proper. And back on Wednesdays, I would assume.
Back on the road.
Back on the road. I guess they're not blowing their load until they get back on the road.
No, they got their bunk sock ready. They're ready to bust that nut into that sock.
And I can't blame them. It means you got to hold back for a few weeks and have a few subpar Dynamites.
How many subpar Raws have we watched?
Well, and that's just it. A subpar Dynamite still feels better than
a good Raw.
I mean, than an average Raw, we'll say.
A subpar Dynamite and a subpar SmackDown feel about the same to me.
Yes, that's probably pretty accurate.
And
we've been spoiled because Dynamite just has been so traditionally good over the course of the pandemic and before.
Exactly. But even in some of the pre-pandemic shows, like, they weren't all full heaters because they were back on the road. It was a lot more storytelling.
Yep.
Being at Daly's Place has really sort of spoiled all of us because they can do so much more because it's their building. They're there all the time. They can plant little seeds that'll be paid off down the road that you won't necessarily catch if you're watching it on a live, thing. So I definitely think that having the fans back and being back on the road and, quote unquote normal, that is when we'll start to see more of, like, I don't know, some more storylines that will keep me more invested as opposed to what I have been viewing as the filler storylines.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think that they are doing a few nice things to build into what eventually will become those storylines, like those little seeds being sown with that. And I can definitely see them already really building, like, the tensions between the women in the women's division as to who's going to be the next challenger to Britt Baker and who will take that belt. They made Velvet Sky look really good the other night. They had they had some stuff with Nyla Rose. They had I like that they're thinking forward in that regard. They're doing some kind of interesting stuff that can pan out down the road with Miro, and more or less by that I mean have Miro win a lot over the next, few months until there's a real viable competitor for him. I think it's telling that you had John Silver, just because it was his birthday, he got a TNT championship opportunity and has now given it away to Evil Uno.
Yeah.
Is that telling of maybe what happens later down the road, that when he's cleared, he could be a more, legitimate threat in a weird way because of how big of a star he is than Evil Uno. And Evil Uno,
I could definitely see it. It's very interesting to see. I don't know. It's going to be, especially come the next 90 days, once the no competes are up, see who shows up, who doesn't.
And if I'm not mistaken, it's 3 or 4 days before All Out. So I tend to feel like WWE might have fucked up a little bit on that one.
You know what? How do you not look at that and be like,
we'll release you in a week?
Yeah. Right. I'm just saying, if complete devil's advocate here, right? Total dick move to release people when there's not necessarily a reason to release people, especially somebody like Aleister Black, who had just had a fucking match leading up to a whole big angle with Big
whole
E.
Program that was coming. Yeah.
Oh my God. I almost pre-ordered the fucking shirt that he had up on WWE Shop, and I'm glad I goddamn didn't, because now I'm going to pre-order his Tommy End shirt that goes directly to him instead.
Exactly. Through his own clothing line, but nonetheless.
Exactly. But the fucking, if WWE, don't tell me that they don't have a calendar that's got everybody else's dates on it, and don't be like, you know what, if we let them go right now, they could show up at Chicago at All Out.
100%.
Like, let them go in a week, and then you cock block them from potentially, like, you cock block them from a gigantic payday. I'm sorry that I'm being an asshole like this.
No, but I'm surprised that hadn't happened.
They fired Punk on his wedding day with a FedEx. I am so surprised that they didn't give this talent a week extra to just do something, and then be like, oh yeah, and now by the way, no All Out.
Yeah. Well, hopeful. I mean, I don't think it was out of goodwill. I think it was probably just out of negligence or incompetence. But that would
just out of complete fucking utter God, just
head in your own ass.
Yeah, ambivalence. I think they're just like, nothing matters but us,
and they do live in that world. They absolutely live in that world. So it wouldn't surprise me if that's the case.
I mean, and we as fans used to live in that world too. And then it's, you know, the more that wrestling has become accessible for all of us, it's become so much easier to digest AEW, Ring of Honor, New Japan, the Indies, all that stuff. So it's just, you know, once again, like I try and say every week, rising tide.
Exactly. Raises all the ships.
Raise all ships.
Let me ask you this before we get on from Andrade. Let's go through for both of us your top 3 fantasy opponents off the bat for Andrade in AEW.
Kenny.
Fair.
I mean, I think it'd obviously have to be Kenny.
Yep.
For that match. Kingston.
Weird choice, but I like it. Weird choice.
Kingston or Mox, I could see, but like I think I would rather see Kingston, because I feel like, you know, I don't know, man. I love Kingston's energy. I feel like it would be it would showcase a different side of Andrade.
Which would be nice, although him and Mox, I don't think they've ever come head to head, especially not in WWE. So
no, I don't think you're right. I do think you're right.
That would be actually my number 1.
That would be. I would love to see that. That would be great. Jericho.
Ooh. You know, that's actually not a bad idea.
Two mouthy motherfuckers that really are high on themselves. And like, the demo god and the idol.
And the new guy versus the old guy. I mean, it's like, and let's be real, Andrade can carry, he can make Jericho, not carry, but make Jericho look fantastic in a match.
Yep, 100%.
Did I say 1 or 2? No, I just said the 1, right?
You just said the 1. I think I've railed off my 3.
Hangman.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Hangman would be my number 2.
Sure.
And more of a wild card, but not really these days, Jungle Boy.
Oh, yeah. You can give me Jungle Boy versus any. I was going to say Sammy Guevara as a wild card.
Yep.
Spanish God versus the Idol. See,
again, he's not so much of a wild card anymore either. With the way they've been booking him, promoting him, and really pushing him.
This is how WWE. I'm sorry, y'all need to take notes from AEW on how to build new stars, but you really do.
You really do.
And like, it's not that hard. Wrestling is such a simple art form at the end of it. The formulas are all there. You know how to make us fall in love with a character.
It takes a little time, and the character has to do a lot of it themselves, and they have to naturally grow. But
if they're good, if they are good enough to do it, they will do it.
It will happen eventually.
It will happen.
It will happen. Yep.
So, and you can look at how over the Mox is, and you can look at how over Pac is, and just any other WWE superstar who was not utilized correctly, then comes over, has a chance to do things and not look like a fool.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing what happens.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Let's move into. We were just talking about the Death Triangle and why they're kind of even there and together. And I believe last week we had mentioned, and there's been a lot of rumor about AEW bringing in a trios title or a trios championships, into the fold. And of course, Death Triangle would be ideal for something like that, as just like the three wrestlers involved. Think that's probably gonna happen with Rampage. I can see that maybe like being a Rampage exclusive, or
don't we get blessed with another Cody segment this week?
Yeah, that's probably, it could be what he's announcing. That could be something,
because it's the Cody show.
Yeah, we can't forget that.
Cody Shody.
But let's go through to, I want to just talk about I know there's plenty of them, but how do you do it? Do we do a tournament? And I mean, they like their tournaments. I like a good tournament.
I think we all like a good tournament if it's done
right.
Right.
Who do we put in this tournament is, I guess.
Well, okay, so I'm thinking about how like Lucha Underground did it, and their trios was just like, there were some people that made sense and then some just random ass teams, and the random ass teams eventually you started to pull for them. So
which happens in tag team tournaments from time to time as well, right?
Absolutely.
Like you maybe you have like 6 of the 8 that you need, so a couple of teams you just kind of throw some people
Black
together.
And Ricochet.
Right.
100%. So I feel like, you take Phoenix and Penta and Pac, you do Death Triangle versus Jurassic Express.
They're there. They're already ready to go.
Yeah.
Best friends with Cassidy is in there.
Yep. You could do best friends. If you wanted to, you could do the Bucks and Brandon Cutler.
Yeah.
Like as their stooge.
Gun Club.
Absolutely.
Dark Order.
Yep.
You could easily put 3 of them together.
Dark Order.
Who would you do it with? Would it be Evil? It would probably be Evil, Uno, Stu, and 10 maybe. Rather than, I think, because I don't think you want to take away the tag and like what Silver and
Reynolds are
doing.
No, either that or you throw Colt in the trios as well.
I always forget Colt's in Dark Order, honestly.
I think he's just there collecting a paycheck.
He's having fun. He has his times on. He shows up on Dark. He was in the battle. He was in the Casino Battle Royale.
Dude, he's still our boy. Like we still love Colt. You could do a Pinnacle faction. You could do.
You could. Who would you do there? Yeah, obviously you could do FTR with Spears.
I would do.
Or would you do it Wardlow?
Yeah. You almost need one more member in the inner circle because you want to keep MJF away from that.
And you almost want to do it with. I kind of want to do it without FTR.
I don't think you can do it with FTR because of their focus on tag team wrestling, not trios wrestling.
That's what so you could do like a Wardlow, Spears, X.
Insert whoever.
Right. Yeah. Somebody joins later.
Whoever joins the Pinnacle later, because there's going to be a surprise join.
Yeah. I think it's a woman, though. I think for some reason, I don't know why, but I feel like they might throw a woman in that group.
Yeah.
I could see it happening.
I wouldn't hate it. More stables and factions like that need a woman presence.
Yeah.
Just to not seem so lame.
By the same token, Inner Circle, I would compare exactly to the FTR scenario. I don't want Santana and Ortiz necessarily going for trios because I think they should be the next tag team champions.
I agree that they should be the next tag team champions. I just really wonder if they will be the next tag team champions.
I don't know. I feel like there's something brewing there. But if you needed to divert and you've got plans for somebody else to take it off the Bucks, fine. Maybe they could do a trios run with Hager, and I wouldn't hate that.
Trios will run with Hager or Sammy, depending on how.
Yeah.
Because like you don't have enough singles titles to push everybody that you're building as single stars.
True. That's 100% correct. That's 100% correct.
Because you can't build Sammy up to challenge Miro, and then during Miro's rise as well, you can't have those.
Sammy
two
could be the
fighting.
guy to take it from him, like maybe even at All Out.
But it needs to be, I was gonna say it needs to be in a little while.
That's 3 months from now. We got to do some stuff with Sammy. We got to do some stuff in general before we get there. And Miro needs to not lose until he loses the belt at All Out. They needs to be. I mean,
absolutely. There's no.
Even if he does lose the belt at All Out, that'll be a question for later down the road.
Right.
But
absolutely,
I think that it would be more. Yeah, it'd probably be more acceptable to have Proud and Powerful in the trios than FTR in my mind.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I think that they can, you could run with them as trios champions and then into tag team champions at some point.
Butcher, Blade, Hardy.
That's tough. How long until Private Party splits?
Yeah, well, they need to definitely that whole Hardy family thing probably needs to split. Period.
That whole Hardy family thing sucks.
It's not good, man. It's not good.
No, it's not. I really feel bad saying it, but
it's not.
It's the shit.
It's not good on TV, and it's even worse. And I know BTE is supposed to be a little cringy and all that. But it's even worse on BT. They're taking that cringe to the next level that I don't like it.
And it misses the mark because they're making it too meta and too cringe and just
Now, when Matt Hardy originally started appearing on BTE and was doing the whole behind the scenes. Yeah, and he's telling you about carnies and marks and all that type of shit. Whatever.
Go home and
I didn't mind that. That was fun.
Yeah, but now it's not fun. That's the biggest part is there's a lot of BTE that's not fun.
Can we just have a Christian Matt Hardy match and get it all over with?
Get it the fuck over with.
Have Christian destroy him, please.
Yeah, and oh my God.
And have Jungle Boy come out and maybe he gets, there's the interference from the Hardy family and Jungle Boy saves the day and Christian sure,
whatever.
Fine, I don't care how we get there at this point.
I just
and get Matt Hardy off TV for a while, please.
I don't give a good goddamn or a bad goddamn about Christian versus Matt Hardy.
No.
I give absolutely zero fucks.
You know what's weird though? It'll probably get decent numbers.
Of course. Sure.
Just name recognition.
I could take a shit at the right time of day and get good numbers.
It's just having those two and their history and the everything that you can build towards it. I get it. I get
it too. I just feel for me, it's a little too let's retread old WWE history.
And they need to be careful of that.
And they need to be real careful of that. I don't think that Christian Matt Hardy is the story that people are oh yeah, that's carrying over. I don't give a shit that they were in TLC matches together.
No.
If it was Edge and Matt Hardy, I would care a little bit more because Edge raw dogged his girl while he was recovering from fucking surgery.
Yep.
So,
and I don't care really that they had a history in TNA.
No, I don't either.
And a lot of people will have not even seen that.
No.
Or cared. Didn't care then.
Cared.
Don't care now.
No.
But that's
why am I supposed to give a shit?
I feel like we are probably forgetting a possible trios that's in there. If it pops in your head, let me know. But already we've come up with enough. There's a tournament. Yeah. There's a tournament.
Oh, you could do a Team Taz.
Oh yeah, duh. Yeah.
Yeah, Team Taz, fucking throw the Nightmare Factory in there.
There'll be
or
some
Dustin and the Nightmare, whatever the fuck.
Well, there's what? The Factory and what is it now? The Nightmare is the Family and the Factory?
Family and the Factory and the Foundation and the Fart Knocker and the
butt fuckers.
Banger.
The butt fuckers. Yeah. That's definitely
God
one.
damn.
But yeah, QT, Marshall, goddamn Agogo, and one of the other.
And that big caveman looking motherfucker.
Oh, yeah. Camarado.
Yeah. Camarado.
If he's going to be something.
Of course he is. He's too big.
Yeah, he's big
and
hairy and
wrestler.
He's an action figure. I mean, just look at him. He's 100%. An action figure.
He's a pro mag.
The match he had with Dustin was not very good.
Also the shits.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't the shits.
Dustin can carry a lot of people.
It was not. It was.
Dude, it's tough when they're still that green.
It was not a main event of a Dynamite.
No.
And I get it. At that point, you're coming up on midnight for most people tuning in. Who kind of cares? Like it would have. Yeah. Who kind of cares what we put on at this main event? And at least it is Dustin and this big hairy monster, you know.
Sure.
And there was a good visual out of it with the blood and the
Dustin will still
hairy.
Like get people to stop. People are just like, is that Gold Dust? Why is he blue?
Oh
yeah. Like Dustin's still a draw. Like I love Dustin.
If I was a lapsed wrestling fan flipping through the channels, he would be one of those people that I would at least recognize from my days of old, right? So
Correct.
You can't. I mean. There's not really, you can't teach that, right? There's not really a price that you can put on that. He got rocked again at some show, I want to say.
Yeah, Enzo.
That was a few weeks ago. We just never talked about it.
No, because we don't really care about Enzo, but he did. Yeah, he caught a DDT wrong, I guess, or did a dive wrong. Like, he knocked him out, had to go to the hospital. He's okay.
Only like the second or third time since we've been following his career.
I was going to say we've definitely talked about Enzo getting knocked the fuck out on this show more than once.
Yeah. Whether that's by one of us or whether that's by...
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's been on there. So you were talking about the AEW women's division earlier, and I just wanted to bring up a thing. So... a couple nights ago, Serena Deeb, AEW mainstay as far as representing the NWA women's division, lost her NWA women's title.
She did indeed.
And it makes me wonder...
To Kamile, by the way. Kamile.
Yeah, Kamile, she's Nick Aldis's, like that... Isn't she that big broad that was always hanging out with... Yeah.
Valet, I guess, or whatever you want to...
Whatever.
Manager.
Yeah, ass whooping, badass looking broad.
She's pretty badass.
Yeah, no, for sure. So yeah, drop the title to her, and then it makes me wonder with how much she has been on AEW television and how much of an influence she is to a lot of female wrestlers. It makes me wonder if she may be AEW bound as not only a talent, but as somewhat of a women's coach as well.
Deeb?
Because,
well, she's signed to AEW.
She's signed? I thought she was...
No, she signed to AEW, and that's what was such a big deal when she won the NWA.
TNA.
The NWA championship.
Or the NWA.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it got really weird back and forth for a little while because you got like Thunder Rosa and like everybody's like confused as to like who
there was
signed
like 300 women that all came and went at the same time. Oh, so okay, well then good. Then
Deeb is AEW like I think signed. So she's honestly, I like that over time. Here's what's going to happen in my mind. Baker's going to have a great run. She's going to have a great run, and she's going to be heel for a while until they can't possibly keep her heel anymore.
Yes.
And
which honestly is going to take a lot less time.
I hope they can keep it going for long. They're going to try and I think keep it going for a while.
They're going to try.
I think they will. Because when the time comes, I think that you have a heel Serena Deeb take the belt off of a face Britt Baker.
I can absolutely see that. Dude, here's the thing. Britt Baker right now is steps away from where Stone Cold was in 96.
Yep.
They are not going to be able to keep her heel because she's so naturally good at everything.
She's
and
too popular.
Too popular.
Yeah, you heard it at Double or Nothing, and then they gave you the moment with Shivani. Thankfully, the following Dynamite, she went right back to heel shtick. Now, it wasn't the greatest heel shtick for her. It seemed like this one was somebody wrote, I don't know, like this was somebody's kind of bad idea.
Feel on brand.
Yeah, it was a little off for me, but I like that they have attempted to keep her in the role that she's in. Like it is, it's not there yet.
I do hope that she stays a heel for a good amount of time, but she's so hot.
I mean,
now.
Ideally, you could do the double turn at All Out. You could do something in that regard. I mean, maybe if it doesn't even have to be deep, it can.
Dude, what if fucking oh god, who just lost the belt? Not Riho.
Sheeta.
Sheeta.
Yeah, sorry.
Dude, what if you did a double turn with Sheeta and Britt, and Sheeta goes heel and Britt goes face? Like you have Sheeta literally just sort of snap, and she's been carrying that kendo stick around.
I know I think she got a haircut. She's changed her look a little bit over the past week since she's dropped the belt. So that's possible. I just don't know how into fans are going to be into seeing another Sheeta Britt Baker match.
Sure.
That seems like something you do on a Dynamite to me more than an All Out, but you could build it up in a way where Baker looks really dominant, does a lot of cheating bullshit to win in the weeks, moving forward. And then I guess finally you could have sort of a blow-off type match with Sheeta and Baker at All Out.
Yeah.
But I'd have Baker win that.
Well, yeah.
I'd have Baker win that. I wouldn't. I mean, you do the double turn, but you have Baker winning. So that's something.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was that's an interesting thought to me. I just don't like. I do think that Britt will be forced face a lot sooner than.
I agree. It can only
dude,
last so long.
If she wasn't so good, it would be a lot easier. But she's too good. We can't pretend to hate her anymore.
A couple other things from that happened on NWA's pay-per-view on Sunday. First off, I like that they put on the pay-per-view. I forgot what was it? When Shadows Fall. I want to say
When Our Shadows Fall, and I was just like, wait, there's a band called Shadows Fall.
Yeah. It sounds very heavy metal band.
Yeah, I was super into it. I was just like, do I have this album?
It was cool that they did it at like 4 p.m. on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. That's I heard an interview with Nick Aldis where he said it was one of the reasons that we wanted to do it was to try and get as many international fans as possible, especially the British fans, in different time zones, because, hey, we're going to put on a pay-per-view for them. That's like watching, that would be a show at 9 o'clock start time. That's doable, right? In comparison to where they're staying up till 2 a.m. to start a show.
Oh my God. To start the regular TV.
And honestly, if you're a big wrestling fan, a big enough fan of NWA, and you're in the States, I would be pumped for it too. Like, I didn't watch it live, I'll be honest, but
No,
but it seemed like, you know, if like WrestleMania basically starts with a pre-show and everything at 4:00, but how nice would it be to start that and be over by 9? And then if you wanted, you could go out to dinner or do something else in the evening if you wanted to, you know, like it's.
Oh my God.
So I thought that was a good idea. Idea. We already mentioned that the new champ with Kamile, but a big debut for them as well with having Kylie Rae. Come over.
I thought that was a great signing. I know there was a lot of hype when she signed with AEW.
Yeah, and there's a lot of, I don't know. I think we're kind of confused as a wrestling community exactly how this has all gone down.
Right, because she signed with AEW and then
went to took time off.
She said that she couldn't do it anymore.
She said she was done, I want to say, right?
Yeah, at one point she did say she was done, and then she went to Impact, and then from Impact is now AEW. So it's just like NWA. It's just like, what is actually happening over here?
It seems like, and I think she took, you know, another break, like in that time from Impact.
Yeah.
She took another break and then just shows up. And that whole time, apparently, she was with Impact. And yeah, she hadn't been seen since the Wrestling Bound for Glory pay-per-view in October 2020.
Wow.
It's a while. Rae had remained under contract to Impact Wrestling, but PW Insider has confirmed that NWA and Impact worked out an agreement over the last several weeks, allowing Rae to move on and sign with NWA. We are told the two sides came to terms within the last 4 to 5 days.
Wow.
So, pretty cool, I guess. I mean, that they were able to come up with an agreement. I guess maybe that involves the NWA buying out some of her contract, or
I would have to imagine, yeah.
But
Impact made some money off of that because they'll take any money they can get.
She might be a good signing for them, though. She might be a good fit. And the reason I say this is that I also listened to an interview with Billy Corgan, Talk is Jericho of all.
William. Not a good person.
Have you heard the interview?
With Jericho? No, yeah. I just know that he's not a.
Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you that I really, really enjoyed the interview and found him to be more likable and more relatable than I've ever experienced in the past.
I just happen to know that he is very trans and homophobic, and so he is.
Oh, really? I've never
piece
heard
of shit
that.
in my eyes. Oh, yes.
I've never heard that. Okay, I seriously had never heard that stat.
You can definitely look into that. We have friends that have worked for them, and he is a legitimate piece of shit. So.
Well, that's a bummer, because I was actually going to speak kind of highly for him, because it was for the first time. Like, he's always been that character of the rock star, like, but the alter ego
indie artist.
Right,
give me a break.
But then I'd hear, you know, a few interviews with him, and like, oh, he's actually got a decent wrestling mind, and you know, he's got decent taste, and so it's like, oh wow, like that, you know, maybe there's some hope there with the NWA and with what he's doing, and there probably still is. That's interesting. One of the things, though, that leads me like back to the why Kylie Rae might be a good fit and why I bring this up is that in the interview, he was talking a lot about how, and it's not a new idea. We've all heard this, but the concept of wrestling happening more like TV shows with seasons and having a bit more of a start-stop to them and keeping it so that you don't necessarily have to like build it like, you know, a 3-month build, have a big blow off, then go away for a little while.
Like Lucha Underground did.
Sure. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like
you
exactly
treat it like seasons.
Treat it like seasons.
And then you have like a cliffhanger, make people want to tune in.
Yeah. I wanted to ask your thoughts about it, because in my mind, I see pros and cons for damn sure. You know, it affects TV deals, it affects that type of thing. But for a show like an NWA power. It's fitting. It's fitting that is not like every weekly episodic television. That should be there for a period. Do some shit. Yeah, like you said, have a cliffhanger. Come back. We'll be back in 3 months. Whatever it is.
Right.
Your thoughts?
I don't know how else the NWA is going to stay in business, to be entirely honest with you.
Yeah.
You know, like,
I mean, it's bigger than it has been in years.
Yeah, of course it is, but it's also like Billy floated a lot of money into that. So I love the idea of wrestling being more sort of episodic and seasoned out. Will it work for most wrestling fans? I don't know.
I feel like Raw could do it right now. God damn.
Yeah, but Raw is 3 hours.
It's a lot of money you're wasting.
So,
yeah, you broke up there for 2 seconds. You were saying Raw is 3 hours, and
that feels like 3 years.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I just feel like for WWE in particular, if we're not going to do long-term storytelling, let's do shorter-term storytelling and maybe take a break to come up with ideas.
Give up the if they did put a break on any of their programming, it would never be Monday Night Raw.
No, you're right. Just because of the 3 hours of advertising revenue.
It is the longest running episodic show on television. So they'll never want to give that up. They'll want to keep that running forever. So they could do it with SmackDown. Dude, they're just so
they make
greedy
too money.
For the money.
They make too much money off the TV deals that it would be virtually impossible.
Make too much money off the TV. Yeah.
And that's why us as fans don't really matter that much anymore, because most of the money isn't coming from it's not coming from us now. It's coming from these big
I'm sure you read that.
We talked about it last week, that weird ass stat that like as of 2018
that they crossed
that threshold from the 50,
crossed from
the 50 it was 50%
from it being fans that paid
tickets, pay-per-view buys, merchandise, and then it turned in, now TV and all the other influence has
all the other deals.
It tipped the scale, if you will. It tipped the scale from one way to another.
It tipped the scale, and then it also tipped. Yeah, and so it also doesn't matter how much we bitch and moan about whatever. Like, if we cheer loudly enough for Cesaro, they'll put him in the main event, and then we won't see anything from him again, and he'll just get beaten up by Seth Rollins and
la-di-da-di-da. I guess the only way in that is to vote with TV numbers, but unless you're one of the Nielsen people and all that, like, that's not even doing that, right?
Yeah.
Like
No, and it's I mean, how much good is it doing when a lot of us just watch clips and don't catch anything live, or
and that's another point. They're making some revenue and some decisions based on what's popular on YouTube. So I guess you could vote in that way, to a degree, but those are also the fans that they care the least about, because Vince hates the internet smarks and hates people that watch that are and they're not getting the same amount of money from YouTube revenue as they are getting from goddamn, Slim Jim dated reference or whatever on a wrestling program,
Right.
Like, it's not even close. It's So, I don't know. I feel we'll talk a little bit more about WWE related stuff in just a second, but how do you feel, Duncan, about we've talked about 2 debuts already on this show. How do you feel about the single most hardcore of debuts of all time? That being Matt Cardona in GCW with Nick Gage.
I'm not gonna lie, I fucking loved this.
This
I
was
loved
kind of
everything
cool.
about this.
This was kind of cool. If you're not familiar, there's been a lot of heat online between Matt Cardona, of course, formerly Zack Ryder, and Nick Gage, stemming from that Cardona used one of the graphics for
He used the MDK.
For one of his shirts that he's trying to promote. And of course, Nick Gage, legendary hardcore wrestler, not super thrilled about this. So they have this online back and forth. Gage puts out a challenge saying, yeah, whenever you want, buddy. Like
blowing him off.
All right, pretty boy. Like, well, come on. Like, yeah, let's do it. And, what was the name of the pay-per-view? It was something pretty crazy. I forgot what it was called.
It was GCW. I don't know.
Something
I think
with
it was
blood in it, I'm sure.
Yeah, light tube dildos or something.
Yeah. Whatever the name of the show was. Yeah. You had Cardona pop up in kind of a hoodie-ish, cape thingy. And
Dude, the best part was so Gage and Moxley have been going back and forth at each other too, right? They've had their things going on. So Cardona shows up all in black hood, and he's doing the sort of like drunken...
The Moxley dance.
The Moxley dance.
Yeah.
And then he hits him with I won't call it a paradigm shift because it wasn't a paradigm shift. He hit him with a dirty deeds is what he hit him with.
Matt Cardona can't do a paradigm shift properly.
No. But hit him with it, and then everybody's like, oh, fuck yeah, it's Mox, it's Mox. They're popping so hard. He pulls that hood off, and they just turn on him so fast. And it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, because he's just like, that's right, fuck all of you.
Which was great.
Which was so great. Like, just, he's like, oh yeah, that's right. The Fed kid showed up and laid out your champ, and then he challenged him for the championship.
The pretty boy.
Exactly.
Whoa.
Man. Yeah, the pretty boy from Jersey.
That you never expect to be in any sort of GCW match, let alone a match with Nick Gage.
Right.
Now it's on. And
rest in peace, Matt Cardona.
Yeah, I gotta say though, this might be a masterstroke in obviously Gage working people as well. It's
absolutely.
We can make a lot of money doing this. We can make a lot of money. Now I don't think it's Nick Gage's MO to go easy on anyone. So he wrestles a certain style.
Dude, he almost killed David Arquette.
He wrestles a certain style.
He attempted murders people with a certain style.
Yes.
And that's what, like, dude, like, he cut David Arquette with a pizza cutter and almost cut his jugular.
This could also, though, if Matt Cardona survives the match, win or lose, he will lose. But is this an opportunity in your mind for Matt Cardona to get some of the cred that he feels like he probably needs to be more successful on the indie circuit, or just on the circuit in general, like
to be taken more seriously?
Yeah,
I think it is. Honestly, man, like, he's been in the WWE for his entire career, so for him to be taken seriously outside of WWE, he needs to do something that's completely out of his comfort zone.
And more power to him for doing that, though, too.
Absolutely.
Like, it's a little all talk until we see something,
Yeah, but I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. Like,
too.
dude, he doesn't have to keep up with Gage in the like gore department. He just has to take a couple of sick bumps.
Yep.
Right? Like a light tube, like, it's like,
there'll be a high bump, there'll be a few, there'll be
some tacks, maybe some
barbed wire, a light bulb, light tube, whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, it's not like he's incapable of having a good storytelling match. And some
Sure.
of Nick Gage's matches are based around that storytelling. So if
Yep,
they can get
absolutely.
that part down, Matt Cardona will be
I think
his stock will raise tremendously in the eyes of most wrestling fans, is what I'm trying to say.
I already think that it has.
Just by showing up on
Yeah.
GCW.
Having the balls to show up in that
Yeah.
hostile ass environment and to take it to him. And I think that even by losing, right? Like, he's not going to win the GCW championship, but even by losing, he will be elevated, and
it's a win in defeat.
Yeah. People are just going to naturally take him a little more seriously, and they're going to be like, you know what? Well done. Like,
and there'll be some promoters out there that will have never wanted to book him that will now, like, I'm sure somebody in Japan will see it and be like, oh, like,
yeah,
he does that. I mean,
I don't know that he's gonna go full on into like the deathmatch style, but like,
he's almost saying that, like, he's not against it, right? Like, he might be convinced into doing a spot here or there, or like, and even if he's not, he's got some of the fans' like acceptance into that world that now he can wrestle a regular singles one-on-one match with his pedigree because he's at least done it.
Shown that he's a tough bastard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So more power to him.
Absolutely.
And I wish him the best of luck. I
hope he doesn't leave in a body bag.
No. Have make sure your shots are up to date. Make sure
tetanus, bro.
get those up to date. Make sure your health insurance is looking real good. And
I mean, he hasn't had company provided health insurance in years, so he's probably still got the same insurance he's always had.
Probably. And also just review the life insurance policy briefly.
Yeah, make sure Chelsea's your beneficiary.
Yeah, get that all covered.
Yeah, straighten that out.
So speaking of
what do you got?
Well, no, I was going to say, speaking of like really, really hardcore matches, we are forgetting, the most hardcore match of all time is happening in 2 weeks. The Hell in the Cell is just always so brutal, and it always looks like it hurts so bad. I mean, it used to. It doesn't anymore. But
no.
But now we have Lashley. I know your favorite feud of all time, Lashley Drew, is happening again in a cell. So that's a thing. Drew needs to just go away after this, right? For a little while.
Dude, I am so fucking sick of Drew.
It's not his fault either. It's not his fault.
No,
it's not his fault. But Drew, you need to go away for a while, or switch brands, or something.
No. First thing he needs to do is put that stupid fucking sword away.
It's done. Yeah, it was cool. Like the first 2 times.
The first 2 times it was great. After it became a thing, and then he cut the table in half yesterday with it. Like, stop it.
And how are they not even selling Drew McIntyre's swords on the shop? How is that not a thing? Like,
you
if you're
sell
gonna
the
do
Bray
the sword,
Wyatt head lantern,
but you're not selling the Drew sword.
Even a short version of the Drew sword. You know why they can't sell it? It's because it's the actual Braveheart sword.
But they can make a sword and put Drew McIntyre on it.
Of course they could.
They can do something. Instead of a finger, like the foam finger or whatever, make it a Drew sword.
It'd just look like they ripped it off from Minecraft. It'll be fucking perfect.
Fine, you could do that, but
you should do that.
And it surprises me that with all this time they haven't done that yet. It's sort of telling to me that they really aren't that behind him.
Nope. Dude, he's their missing year champion.
Yeah. And he needs to go away for a while. And so, and we'll obviously do predictions for that way down the road. But it was another just god-awful Raw. There was some stuff that didn't even make sense. Like, we had a tag team battle royal to
determine the number 1 contenders.
Yeah, but there were 2 tag teams that were involved in the match that didn't have partners.
Yes.
One being the Miz and Morrison, the other being, I think it was Lindsay Dorado was in there with no one else. Like one of the Lucha House Party. Like it's like, why? That doesn't really make sense. Of course,
none of it makes sense.
Viking Raiders win it. Doesn't make sense. We're already getting to the point where we're breaking up RK Bro, which is actually one of the funniest bits of Raw right now.
Correct. I love RK Bro.
RK Bro is working for me, and I get that Randy is supposed to be annoyed with him all the time, but they're already putting the building blocks into Riddle costing Randy all the matches. And him being an idiot.
They're playing him off as an annoying younger brother. I love it.
That part is great, but have him help Randy in an annoying way to win a match, not have them constantly lose. And that's why Randy will turn on him, and then we will have that, and blah blah blah. It's just duh. And then we have the. Have you seen any of the segment that shall really not ever be named again after this podcast?
Oh, did I see any of this segment?
What a way to close a show, Duncan. What a way to get me to want to tune in next week.
What a way to just show that we have nothing for anybody right now.
Shayna and her acting didn't help this.
No.
But it's not her fault.
First of all,
it's not her fault.
No,
you don't put her. Don't make her do this. She's good enough at other things.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was going to say. Shayna Baszler's talent is not on the microphone unless she's like, I'm going to rip your arm out of socket. Yeah. End of story.
And she's short, sweet, to the point, gonna murder you.
She does it.
Yes.
The problem is that for the last year, dude, they were so hot on Shayna. She murdered everybody in that elimination chamber and then lost at WrestleMania. Yeah. So.
And has been stuck in a tag team ever since.
Or stuck doing nothing else ever since. Yeah. She got the women's tag team championships. Great. But she's a legitimate killer in the ring. She did that interview with somebody saying that she's about the only woman who could legitimately do intergender competition, because legitimate intergender competition.
Yeah, and when she lost to Reggie, it felt like that match was done really well, and that match was actually smart booking, because Reggie against most other females, you sort of feel, for the female. I wouldn't want to see Reggie beat the shit out of a face Alexa Bliss, right?
Right.
You can't have that. But Shayna is so believable in her role as a past MMA fighter, as just being a badass, that when he pulls out a body slam on Shayna, you're like, that's only going to piss Shayna off more.
Yeah.
You're not worried about Shayna. You're worried about Reggie.
Yep.
And he, with the stupid Alexa distraction, he can get the pin, fine, whatever. But that's my point with Shayna in this whole thing, is that, just like you were saying, she should be treated in such a different way, and she should be pissed off at Alexa with her spooky powers, and leave me alone with your dumb doll. Do we have a problem because your dumb doll is pissing me off?
But that's the thing, is if you're gonna have her go after it and be like, your dumb doll is pissing me off, then she either needs to destroy it, and that's the end of Lily and Firefly Alexa or whatever,
or kick the shit out of Alexa.
Yes, but then you're throwing away all of the work that they're doing with that character for whatever reason. I'm not saying that it's good work that they're doing, but they are doing.
They're putting a lot of emphasis on it, so yes.
Right. So obviously you can't just have Shayna come in, kick the shit out of the doll, or Alexa, you know what I mean? That they worked her into this weird corner of supernatural fuckery that she doesn't have any business being in.
No, you're right.
So I don't know.
It's it was just kind of embarrassing. That's the sort of segment that when non-wrestling fans see it, They're like, really? You watch this? Really?
Yeah, 100%.
You know,
It's like
and it makes me
Alexa
embarrassed.
Bailey.
It makes me embarrassed to be a wrestling fan a little bit.
Yeah,
Like
it's like the This Is Your Life that Alexa and Bailey did.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just like it's
cringeworthy.
And again, not like that sort of knowing, like tongue-in-cheek wink,
Yeah,
nudge,
because that can be fun. The Festival of Friendship, one of the most cringe-worthy segments ever, and you saw every bit of it coming, but it was phenomenal, and it was fun.
Yeah, every part of that was great.
Every part of that was great, and I wouldn't mind a non-wrestling fan seeing that. This is just like, no, let's just not do this. Like we've got Shayna freaking out, locking herself behind doors, like
no glass allowed in video segments. It doesn't work. It has never worked. It will never work.
No,
just stop it. No mirrors. It didn't work with Warrior. It didn't work with Hogan and Warrior.
It didn't work with Mojo, and Mojo could get anything over.
Yeah, obviously. He got Gronk over.
Oh, God. You want to do some prediction?
I think we should. Seems about right. I'm like,
right.
Why am I tired? Oh, because I had to work today.
Exactly. Yeah, no. We'll do some predictions.
Predicciones. And, just you and me, mano a mano.
Dude, it's a long time since this has happened.
I know.
I of course, Matthew wasn't able to be here, and he must have forgotten to, or the text got lost in the ether.
Or he just forgot that there was a 5-match pay-per-view.
Oh, do we have 5?
Looks like we got 5 according to Wikipedia.
Oh, they must have added one while we were on the air because I've only got 1 through 4. So what would be?
All right. Well, you do the 1 through 4,
and then we'll do well, 1 through 4. The fourth one is the Raquel Gonzalez match. So do you have one? What would be 5 on what you're reading?
5, I have Bronson Reed and MSK.
Okay, that is the one.
Versus Legado del Fantasma in a winner-takes-all 6-man tag team match for the North American Championship and the NXT Tag Team Championships.
Fuck off.
Right?
That sounds pretty dope, honestly.
That's William Regal coming out and going, okay.
So it's like Reed, MSK versus Phantasma and his boys, like the other
versus Escobar, Joaquin Wilde, and Raul Mendoza.
Yeah, I always get their names all mixed up.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, since we've just said that, let's go ahead and run with that one.
Yeah,
let's
do it. All right. So
Woo.
Bronson Reed and MSK versus
Escobar, Phantasma.
Escobar, Joaquin Wilde, and Raul Mendoza.
Oh, that's what I'm getting wrong. Yeah, because
Phantasma is the stable.
That's what I'm getting mixed up on. Interesting. Oh, it's my go, isn't it? Because you got Champion's Advantage. Oh man, it seems too soon to take it off. Reed and MSK haven't had it that long, but ooh.
It's one of those ones you could see going either way.
You really could. And without seeing this episode of NXT or any clips, it makes it a little difficult because the match was just announced on it.
Right. I'm really wondering if we're gonna get a women's. Nope, doesn't look like we're gonna get a women's tag match.
I'm going Reed MSK. I'm gonna have to.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm going that too, just because the big babyface win, like especially after Bronson Reed knocked over Johnny Gargano.
And that kind of just happened too. Yeah, it feels like so. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna do that one.
Yeah.
Next up, Mercedes Martinez. How do you say it? Versus is it Zia? Zia?
I say Zia Lee.
Zia Lee.
Yeah.
I gotta go Zia Lee.
Yeah.
All this build and all this stuff, like I feel. Yeah, I'm gonna go Zia Lee.
Yeah. The thing about that is you're 100% right, because they've been building Xia Li. Mercedes is enough of a badass that she can take a loss.
She can take a loss. Exactly.
Yeah.
She can take that loss.
So, we're going the same.
I'm sure we'll come up with we'll get there.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it.
The match that should main event the night but won't. Cameron Grimes versus LA
Knight. Yes, for a ladder match for the $1 Million Championship.
That must have just been announced.
Yep.
That was announced today. Okay, so we got a ladder match.
Yeah.
All right, I love everything about this. Whoo! I don't know if it changes my opinion or doesn't.
It doesn't change mine. I'll tell you, I'm going Grimes.
I mean, we gotta go Grimes. We
gotta go to the moon.
You can't have LA Knight with your
No.
LA Knight's not there to be that guy, I don't think either.
I don't think he is either. I think he's there to be like some sort of a heel foil and to like just make people hate him.
It would be a dumb move to not put that belt on Grimes that. I'm interested what both of those guys are going to do in a ladder match. LA Knight doesn't seem like a ladder match guy to me.
He doesn't. I've seen Cameron Grimes in a few ladder matches before. Like he
can do some shit, but
he can do some shit.
This isn't going to be. I don't think this is going to be a very high flying ladder match. This is going to be more of a use the ladder as a weapon.
It's going to be more of like the first ladder match.
Correct.
Yeah, it'll be more like Shawn and Razor, which I'm totally cool with.
Yep. Singles match for the NXT Women's Championship. Raquel Gonzalez, champion with Dakota Kai, versus Ember Moon with Shotzi Blackheart. Ooh. There's a belt that I think will change hands on this show, and I can't decide if it's this one or the men's Fatal 5-Way.
That's where I'm at, too.
I can see them putting it on Moon, but it does seem pretty quick. When did Gonzalez win it? Was it the last pay-per-view?
Yeah?
This seems like it, right? Wasn't it?
Was it at TakeOver? No.
I can't remember if that was a TakeOver or if she won it on NXT
Was it
TV.
night one of TakeOver?
Yeah. Oh, man.
Hang on, I'm looking it up.
Yeah. But again, like, you can see this going either way too, right? Like this.
Absolutely. No, I definitely can.
And kind of a decent redemption story for Ember.
It was Io Shirai versus Gonzalez at Stand and Deliver night one.
Stand and Deliver night one. Okay,
yep.
Yeah. All right.
So it's been a couple months, but not very long. I think the only way that you take the belt off of Raquel is if she's going up. And
I mean, you could bring Ember and Shotzi up though too.
You definitely could, especially going back up to going back out on the road. Ember and Shotzi would sell a lot of merch. Ember's already somebody that people know.
I'm going Raquel. Raquel retains.
To retain?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doing the same?
Dude, I have to.
Yeah.
It's just it's what makes sense. I don't see Ember having another run with the NXT women's title for some reason. Like, I can see her going back up to the main roster with Shotzi because they need more women tag teams. So I can see that. The next one, the 5-way, is where I'm
Hold
just like, what's that?
Hold up.
Oh, you're gonna throw your card?
I'm mulligan.
You're gonna mulligan?
I'm gonna mulligan and Ember it.
All right.
I'm going Ember.
All righty.
Gonna go Ember. I gotta do something, because what if we pick the same person on this one?
Dude, I don't even know on this one. This is the one where I'm just like,
Right. Fatal 5-Way NXT Championship, Karrion Kross champion. Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, Pete Dunne.
Yeah.
Part of me wants to throw this on O'Reilly because he's never quite gotten there, and this would be a way to do it. And I think that if they were to go that route, he'd get the pin on Cole.
Sure.
Part of me thinks that Cole could get it back, get the pin on Riley.
Right.
Part of me thinks that Karrion Kross could just win. I don't think it's Gargano or Pete Dunne's night.
I don't think it is either. I think that Gargano has held the title enough that, you know, he's a main event star. Not going to really do anything to put the belt back on him. I don't think Cool Kyle works. He looks like he just found his older brother's hand-me-downs.
I kind of like it. I'll be honest.
Of course you do.
I kind of like it.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
You have to imagine my surprise. But like, dude, the shiny
but
white
for the
Converse,
masses, I don't know.
Like the denim, the Canadian tuxedo, like his vest and his jeans match. They're the same shade of denim. Like, come on, bro. At least Warhorse it up a little bit. You know, he's the great value Warhorse is what Kyle O'Reilly is right now.
Yeah, he's definitely the not as cool version. He might be better in the ring, but...
Oh, I'm sure he's better in the ring, but like as far
a character,
as gimmick, just like Warhorse without the paint and the scar and the patches.
My problem with the whole thing, too, is that if Kross wins, I don't know what the fuck you do with him. Like, I don't know who you have challenge, so I feel like... And he's such a main roster dude that I could see them fast-tracking him to the main roster.
Dude, Kross needs to go to the main roster, especially, well, now that you fired Aleister Black, for sure. You need that. You need him up on the main roster, I think. I think for me, it comes down to Kyle and Cole.
Same.
And if you put it on Kyle, do you naturally go with Adam Cole as the next competitor? Do you have Bobby Fish turn? And
could say for either one of them, though, too. Really? I mean, well, not turn, but yes, you could have either one of those guys against either one of those guys is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So...
Oh, dude, this is tough.
It's real tough.
Kyle O'Reilly.
You're going Cool Kyle?
I'm going Cool Kyle.
Man. I was thinking about Kyle O'Reilly.
I think after the attack with Adam Cole, like him attacking the other last week on NXT, I just somehow don't think that he wins it. Like, it seems, if we're following traditional booking guidelines and all this weird,
Yeah.
I'm thinking more main roster, but.
Sure. I'm just wondering what we do with Adam Cole at this point, too.
Put him on the main roster.
Yeah. You going to bring him and Kross up? Could. But
different brands.
Yeah, I guess you put Kross on SmackDown.
Would you? I'd go the other way around.
Put Kross on Raw. I don't want Kross to get lost in the shuffle.
I'm okay with that. I'm not a big fan, honestly.
Yeah, but I like Kross, so.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know, I just feel like
he could still win it. He could. There's a huge. I mean, he could. There's that.
Yeah. You're going Kyle. I'm going to go Kross.
You going to go Kross?
Yeah.
All right. Well, at least we got a couple of differing picks to.
Yeah. Because honestly, I don't even know if. Like, I know he's perfect main roster potential, but I feel like Kross debuts with fans.
They could also take him off TV for a few weeks.
They absolutely
they're
could.
They're so close at this point that it's anybody's guess.
Yeah, but you also run the risk of like that, not the bad heat, but like you run the risk of him cooling. Like when you take people off TV and they're out of sight, out of mind, you tend to forget about them.
But if it was Adam Cole of the two of them that got pulled up, he wouldn't lose any of that. It would be a huge deal if he showed up in front of the first night in front of fans on SmackDown.
I think it would be a huge deal if it's going to be a huge deal if anybody new shows up in front of fans
and
on SmackDown.
I think they're going to. With all the releases, with everything that's gone on, it's...
I mean, we just get Eva Marie. That's what we get to look
well,
forward
that's
to.
What we deserve, Duncan.
Yes, it is what we deserve. Because we have been fickle wrestling fans, and we weren't happy when it was good, and now we get Eva Marie back.
That's true.
We had to fire all of those wrestlers to pay for Eva Marie.
You know what WWE definitely deserves is a Summerslam in a stadium.
SummerSlam in a brand
new. It was like it'll be like the second event or something in it. Like something ridiculous.
Yep, I think it's like Garth Brooks and then this.
At Las Vegas, Allegiant Stadium, something.
Allegiant Stadium, and it's on a Saturday.
I kind of like that.
It's the same, and I think it starts earlier because it's the same day that Manny Pacquiao has a fight.
That's one of the reasons that it's all gotten, weird. Like I think they just, whatever. We don't know, but that's what's happening. Do you think they can put that many asses in seats? I'm skeptical of it.
In Vegas? Maybe.
This soon? With the way the ratings are, what am I scared of? Like, I'm scared of the...
No. I was going to say, what do you, how long is it? It's still August, right?
Yeah, I think it's towards the... I don't know when it is in August.
So, you do
have a bit of time.
And it's Vegas, right? There's the hotel rooms fucking everywhere.
And if you've got the fight that weekend, maybe they're relying, hopefully, maybe there'll be some crossover.
I think that's what they're hoping for, is that they can get people that are going to both to like...
But on the same day?
Bro, they'd have to run straight from one to the other. But then again, those fights...
We wouldn't want to do that.
Some people might.
I don't think that's a good idea. Or is the...
Vegas, there's cocaine.
Is the Pacquiao fight maybe on the Sunday? So they're doing it on the Saturday.
No, I think boxing fights are almost always on Saturdays.
I'd like to know that, because if that Pacquiao fight was on the Sunday, then I can see the logic behind it a little more, right? Because you could have people that were flying in for the weekend, two big shows like that in one night. I don't know that there's going to be a lot. There will be some, but not a lot of people, that there's that crossover. And you're trying to fill up a 60,000 seat stadium.
Right.
Oh, man.
August 21st is when Pacquiao is fighting, which is the Saturday.
So they're both on the Saturday.
Yep.
Interesting choice. I'd like to sit in that business meeting.
Dude, seriously, like that's one where you're just like, well, what if we just throw our nuts out on the strip and see what happens?
I mean, more power to them for being that optimistic, I guess. But this could go really wrong. This could get like a terrible buy, and all of a sudden they're asking the MGM Grand if we can fucking do SummerSlam in there.
Because they'll put a gigantic set in there that'll take up,
they'll light it like they did WrestleMania and bump everybody down to the lower bowl.
And they will paper the shit out of it.
Yeah.
They'll give away as many tickets as they can for ones that they don't sell. But dude, like there's going to be people coming from all over for this thing. Like wrestling fans, especially WWE diehards, really want wrestling.
No.
Like, so they'll... And I mean, shit, it's only a few hours drive from LA. So And it's a hub.
I'll be interested too, because I mean, it depends on the card too, right? Especially when you have, they're banking on the big, they're getting the names. They're getting the names on this, right?
Roman and Brock will be on that show.
Roman and Brock.
Or Cena and Brock.
Cena and Brock will be on that show. One of them, like, I mean, we can logically think that it would be a Cena Reigns versus Brock Lashley. That's how you sell it. That's how you sell that many seats. I don't see. I mean, I don't really see that you can do it with. I mean, after Drew, who's Bobby's next challenger? You know,
right. Not Braun. He got fired.
But yeah, they don't have those names. They don't.
That's the biggest thing about Raw right now is who's the next fucking contender for the WWE title.
And with Roman, it's a little bit different because we assume he's going to hold it for a long time, and and we kind of, that feels more believable, especially with like the tribal chief and like the family and the head of the table, all that sort of stuff. Yeah. That feels more believable. But I need a really believable challenger for Bobby right now. Otherwise, it's what? Are they just going to do the same thing? Like, are they just going to have Bobby hold it indefinitely?
Dude, until like, you are legitimately out of contenders on Raw.
Yeah. And sadly, like, if you do the Brock Lashley thing, either way, we're kind of screwed because you've got Lashley, if he wins, holding it, and then we still don't have any more contenders. But then if Brock wins, you've got Brock win the belt again, and then fucking, it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation.
Yep. So maybe that's why you send Karrion Kross to Raw.
To have someone.
But you don't want to feed him just straight to Lashley either.
Dude,
I don't know.
I don't know either. Maybe Adam Cole. Maybe Adam Cole can take down
Bobby Lashley.
And that would be a way to do it.
I wouldn't hate it.
I wouldn't hate it either. I like that, actually. I kind of like that.
Yeah. All right. Fine. Book it.
Yeah. You got anything else? Oh, no. One quick thing before we get out of here. We sort of covered most of it earlier when we were talking about NWA. Duce, our good buddy Duce, asks, did anyone watch the NWA pay-per-view Sunday? And I just watched clips. And what do you think about getting the NWA pass on Fite? I think I will echo some of your statements, Duncan, on this that you said earlier, in the fact that NWA has promise, but I don't know that it's there yet that I want to pay money for it.
I barely want to pay money for WWE.
Right. We'll pay money for the network. We'll pay money for an AEW pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
If I guess the card was good enough, I would consider paying for an NWA pay-per-view. It's good that they're doing it for $20 in the States. They're not asking too much. But the company as a whole, when there's so much else out there right now, the company as a whole is asking me, like, that's a lot to invest in. And so, no, I personally would not invest in that. I think there are other, highspots.com when indie wrestling gets back, right? Like, you've got a lot of other...
now, even if, like, it's still got all that old shit on there, like old PWG, like it's worth the $10 a month for old PWG alone.
Or even New Japan at the moment. Like,
the New Japan World.
And if you're still into NWA, 99% of their content is being put up on YouTube. So I don't really understand.
Look, if you want to give your money to the NWA,
if you really like
so that they can, then by all means do. Like, in the same way that if you like our show, you should give us money so that we can make ours better as well.
Absolutely. Patreon.com/ONRS.
So that being the case, like, feel free to support what you want to support. I personally won't.
Yes.
Like, I wouldn't pay for Honor Club, like, there's already so much wrestling that I need to ingest that I don't have time to ingest, that I can't add stuff that I have to pay for onto it when I already have a subscription service that I pay for that I don't utilize nearly often enough.
And I'm going to be real with you. I found that NWA pay-per-view about 30 minutes after it was off air for free.
No.
Just saying, it's pretty easy if you know what you're doing. So,
right.
I mean, I didn't watch it. I just noticed that it was on
available,
like,
yes,
from various different sources and
yeah,
and stuff. So, yeah, like, you know, and if they really were to be doing stuff that was becoming much must-watch pay-per-view content,
yes,
I would 100% pay for it, and I would do it, and I would have no problems with it. They're just not there yet for me. The only real draw for me personally, it was that Trevor Murdoch and Nick Aldis match. That sounded like a really interesting match to watch. Apart from that, yeah, you had Serena Deeb defending her belt. I am surprised she lost it, but that's not enough. Like, Serena Deeb is fan-fucking-tastic. She's not making me buy a $20 pay-per-view.
Correct.
And neither is Nick Aldis. Very quickly, though, before we do run out of here, they have announced, just keep talking about NWA, they have announced that they are doing a women's only pay-per-view.
Oh, really?
Yep. And it is going to be basically show run by Mickie James, Nick Aldis' wife, who was just recently fired from the WWE. So
that makes sense.
Yep. They announced.
I'm okay with it. Totally.
I'm okay with it. That might be something that I pay for, because I think that is something that, quite frankly, you know, we need more of, and there needs to be more support of. And just because of that, that will be something that I'll consider paying for if the card is good enough.
And I think Mickie James will put together a really good card.
Oh, dude, she's going to be so underrated in this role, and I think she's going to start working for, I mean, nothing official, but it all seems like she'll start working pretty much behind the scenes in NWA, and I'm sure she'll have a match on the card as well, and I think that yeah, that's probably the best thing that ever could have happened for Mickie James at this stage in her career.
Yeah, definitely, especially given how she was done dirty a couple weeks ago.
Yes. Well, I think that's enough for one night, is it not, Duncan?
It is. We'll just real quick shout out the new IWGP heavyweight champion Shingo Takagi, who defeated Kazuchika Okada to claim the vacant title. So congratulations to him. It's not really one that you'd expect, especially over Okada.
I did like what he said in the press conference as well, though, that he does not consider himself the real champion until he defeats Will Ospreay.
I love that.
The man that had to, of course, relinquish the belt due to injury. So that's quality on him. I think that's the right move.
Yep, and I don't think Will's going anywhere. He said that he's pretty much locked down to New Japan for the foreseeable future. So
and hopefully
get well soon.
Injuries aren't too bad, and we can see him soon, because he's an absolute beast, and he's made so.
Especially since he bulked up.
Dude, he's like a different guy, man. He's awesome. Anyway, it's time we get out of here for the evening, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure to check out OhNoWrestling.com. Make sure to check out twitch.tv/ONRS Live every Tuesday evening, usually around 8:30 or 9 p.m. We go live there. If you're just a podcast listener, we'd love to have you hop in the chat and shoot shit with us. That being said, we've got a real big show for our other show this week. It's episode number 500 of the OhNo Radio Show. You can find that on the same Twitch stream. That'll be at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, twitch.tv/ONRS Live. Check out OhNoRadioshow.com. If you want to throw some of your hard-earned dollars, throw them at me over at patreon.com/ONRS. Leave us a voicemail at 407-906-6466. And Duncan, what do we say when we get out of here?